Tonight on CTV News, traffic issues in the spotlight for Rolleston, and the buskers are back to entertain the crowds.
Broadcasting across Canterbury from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. As we go to air tonight, a major scrub fire in North Canterbury is threatening homes and stock. 10 fire crews and 2 aircraft are working to bring the blaze under control in Mandeville. Winds are fueling the fast-moving fire, which is scattered across 2 hectares. And we understand half a dozen properties are being prepared to be evacuated as the fire is tearing through the tinder-dry paddocks. Stock is scattered across the land, which is causing added trouble for crews fighting to put out the blaze. We'll bring you more on this as that story develops. Well, to the day's other news, Selwyn is the fastest growing region in New Zealand. And while that's great news for the local economy, it comes with issues like traffic congestion. But plans are underway to deal with this in Rolleston, where the problems are expected to get worse as more people from Christchurch move to the town.
Rolleston is quickly becoming the town of the future, rapidly growing in size since the February 2011 earthquakes. Its population has almost doubled in size in the past 4 years, and a new highway is expected to help ease its traffic congestion.
It's just simply the increased traffic flows on some of the roads, and so that when the Southern Motorway comes through, there'll be connections between that and our own roads, and some of the traffic patterns may change. So we just need to be aware of that. The
idea for the motorway is to provide 4 lanes for commuters, able to cater up to 20,000 people travelling along the motorway each day.
That's certainly going to be beneficial for freight to and from the south, and it's going to be particularly beneficial for residents of Rolleston wanting to commute in and out of the city.
Despite the Selwyn district becoming a hot spot for locals to live since the earthquakes, the need for this major thoroughfare through to the city has been talked about long before 2011.
Even before the earthquakes, the government had announced its Roads of National Significance program, and this Southern Motorway stages 1 and 2 were part of that program.
But since the February earthquake, major demand on the road has only grown higher.
The need for it was confirmed by the earthquakes because we got increased, more rapid growth as people moved south to Rolleston.
At last count, around 21,000 vehicles travelled down State Highway 1 to Rolleston.
I think we're forecasting that when we open it in just over 3 years from now, 3.5 years from now, that'll already be 25,000 vehicles a day. So, you know, we're talking typically about 2 or 3% growth on these routes, and in some cases that's up 30% or 40% as a result of the earthquakes.
At a cost of $200 million and taking 3 years to build, it's hoped to be completed by 2018. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
Well, after nearly 50 years operating in Christchurch, one of New Zealand's leading technology companies, Tate Communications, has unveiled its new international hub, and it's right on the city's doorstep. Marcus Gibbs takes a look.
This is the flagship hub of a multi-million-dollar Christchurch business.
It's been very good. It was a long time coming and a long time planning.
Tate Communications was first founded in 1969 by Sir Angus Tate in Christchurch. The company, with a turnover of $170 million a year, has now grown to where about 200 staff work overseas and more than 500 are based in New Zealand. This new business hub was a dream of the founder for decades. The company is currently looking for technology-oriented businesses to share office space and move into the area.
What we really want to be able to do is attract investment into the Mura Park as a place of innovation and manufacturing together.
Tate Communications now manufactures radio communication handsets, bases and networks, trading in more than 150 countries around the globe. The last 5 or so years have been good for Tate. A number of large contracts have been awarded, including one that saw Tate supply 6,500 radios for Britain's Royal Air Force. Queensland Rail has selected Tate Communications for the digital migration of its radio communications network, and as the company continues to expand, it needs a hub like this to develop new technology.
As our brand keeps growing, we want to sort of sit back and say, well, where's our core, where's our base? And putting a building like this up as part of a wider vision around how New Zealand-based innovation and manufacturing together can go out to the world was part and parcel of what was the original design.
Until now, Tate Communications has been spread across separate buildings. Soon the company will be only working out of two: the reception management and design offices and the factory, where every day hundreds of workers bring the ideas of this company to life, shipping them to order.
This is a real win for us because all of these people have been spread in up to 3 or 4 different locations around a number of different buildings, and bringing it all together has just changed the way that they're operating, and the business momentum and the excitement is much greater than we've seen ever.
On the ground floor of the new hub, lines of engineers and software programmers are busy creating. Upstairs, teams are brainstorming on how to keep Tate at the top of the game.
What we've been able to do is bring our innovative and creative design engineers alongside our production engineers and bring it into our own version of an innovation laboratory and bring the thinking together and build new features, new products, new solutions that we can then take into the design part of our business.
Moving forward, the focus is becoming more about how to keep the business in a high-profile position. New Chief Executive Gary Diak says Tate Communications will need to adapt to stay ahead of the competition and to meet customer demands. Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G and LTE technology is catching up to Tate's devices, so this company needs to shake things up.
How we integrate with those and stay ahead of the game is really, really important, and that's what these young innovative people are doing, is thinking about that and how we integrate and how we'll end up partnering with other large players like the big telcos to take solutions to our customers that are integrated as opposed to the standalone Tate that it was in the previous generation.
Tate is already switching business models and is becoming more service-based as the market changes.
We've got as many software designers now as we have electronic engineers, and through software on top of our electronics, we're starting to become integrated partners with some of our large customers, and as we do that, and we'll become much more a seamless partner to those large purchases of our electronics.
This will be a generational change, and it will take several years before Tate has the same branded footprint as it does with its electronics side of the business. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
And still to come here on CTV News, the Buskers Festival comes to town and a Christchurch charity fundraises to buy an historic building. Welcome back to CTV News. Well, Canterburyans with an interest in Antarctica had a sight to see in Lyttelton over the weekend. A Chinese research ship that's designed to smash through thick ice was at the port, and during its stopover there were talks on how China and New Zealand can work closer together on the frozen continent. Marcus Gibbs has the details.
Bringing the Chinese culture to Lyttelton Harbour. The Shanghai-based Shenlong refuelled in Lyttelton on Saturday, fresh from a 6-month research visit in Antarctica, and was welcomed into port with traditional music and dance. The arrival of the Shenlong is a significant occasion. This monstrous ship smashes through thick ice with ease, giving scientists access to harder-to-reach places in the Antarctic. The Chinese are planning to set up a 5th base in Antarctica, not far from New Zealand's Scott base, and the two countries are hoping to work closer together.
It's significant that the Shenlong should come to Christchurch. It's great for our economy, but most importantly for our Antarctic program. It's where we share a lot of our logistics and science, and we've got a very improving relationship with China.
Both countries can benefit from a closer working relationship. New Zealand has a long history in the Antarctic. Scott base was launched in 1957 and scientists have been based there ever since. However, the Chinese only started working from the Antarctic in 1985 with the completion of the Great Wall Base.
The Chinese government attaches great importance to this research and to this project, and also we are hoping to see that more cooperations between our two countries in this area could happen.
But what the Chinese lack in experience, they make up for with expensive vessels and research equipment, such as the Shenlong, or as it translates translates to in English, the Snow Dragon.
Collaborations like we have with the Chinese, with their vessels and the helicopter that you've seen on board here, is helping us to reach places in Antarctica that we've not actually managed to get to before.
Today's visit was the ship's sixth to New Zealand, and invited guests were given a special tour of the vast ship, below the decks and to the helicopter at the back of the vessel.
This is quite amazing. You've probably had a good look around as well as I have. Even that helicopter in the back can carry 5 tonnes of equipment, and that very helicopter has been helping the New Zealand program this year. It's been putting special fuel caches so that we can fly to some remote places next year in our own New Zealand helicopters.
The Chinese hope to start the construction of their latest base later this year, and once it's complete we're likely to see more visits from the Shalong. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
The Christchurch Buskers Festival has become an iconic event, and this year's lineup promises some old favourites and some new acts. Emma Cropper was there today to catch some crazy new opening performances.
Wild international street performers entertaining the Christchurch crowds. Over the next 10 days, the International Buskers Festival is set to impress with its death-defying acts, stunts and jokes.
I get to play with new audiences and I get to learn a new sense of humor. I'll try to tone down and get low key and self-derogatory. That seems to be, I've been here for a day. I'm already getting that's the kind of sense of humor we're going for here.
Real low key.
Very low key, very dry, very self-deprecating.
It's all business at the front and party at the back for local performer Mullet Man.
I know in Auckland mullets aren't that cool, but down here, different story.
He's been making the local crowds laugh for more than a decade. The Christchurch performer believes they're more in tune with street performers than other parts of the country.
Christchurch crowds have become quite used to street performing, which is really cool. Even elsewhere in New Zealand, people are still sort of learning a little bit about it. Apart from Queenstown, we get a lot of tourists, so the vibe's pretty good.
And he's not shy about how he looks after his luscious locks.
She strips out all the natural oil and makes the mullet brittle, and then you got to lather yourself in coconut oil and sleep in glad rack for a night.
The festival's in its 22nd year of running, and its new director is promising a show filled with all the good stuff.
All the laughter, the fun, the entertainment, the circus, the acrobatics, everything they've come to enjoy about the buskers.
The 2011 earthquake forced the festival to shift to Hagley Park, but the organisers are hoping by reopening Market Square, the festival will gradually make its way back into the city.
And I think it's been good. It's definitely created a bit more of a festival vibe as opposed to a street vibe, so you don't get the sort of flush you used to in the square of day workers and tourists. You get more picnickers for the day. It's different, but it's still good.
Juggling in Scotland!
The festival is running until the end of the week for locals to catch the talent out on the streets. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
And still at the Buskers Festival, Christchurch locals braved the day's hot conditions to catch the acts. Jared McCulloch asked the locals for their reviews.
Do you guys come here, have you come here every year, or is this
I've been here a couple of times.
Last year.
Yeah, first time.
Yeah, first time for you?
Yeah, first time.
What do you think of it?
Oh, it looks pretty cool so far. Love to see some of the acts.
What do you think of the Buskers Festival today?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've only been here for about 2 minutes, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is there anything you've been looking forward to see today, or are you just roaming around?
Just roaming around. Thought we'd come check it out.
Have you been here before?
No. We used to go to the one in town.
Have you been here before? Have you
Other years, yes.
Yeah. How many times have you been? You've been a few times?
2 or 3. Yes, quite often we come to the nighttime one, but we just bought the grandkids this year, so yeah.
And grandkids liking it too?
I think so, although they're liking the rides. A couple of them they've been a bit bored with, so wanted to go back to the rides. Yeah.
It's been very good. They're very professional people.
What's been your favourite so far? Have you seen many acts today?
We've seen 2 today, and our Kazam is the one we've thoroughly enjoyed, which was on the skirt stage.
Awesome. Have you been to Buskers Festival before?
Yes, we have.
How many times before have you been?
10, 15.
I'm on holiday from England, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, so have you ever been to one of these before, have you?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah, have you been to one here in Christchurch before?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How many times have you been?
At least 2 at least twice, yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, what have you seen so far?
This person was curled up in the box, and it looked pretty hard, and there was this stuff which she threw out of the box, and then when she got out, it flied out of the box itself.
Seen a fella over in the Botanic Garden singing. He was cool, really good.
Have you been here before?
No, by yesterday, but that's it.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's great variety. Probably only if it was just a little bit closer, some of the stuff, I think. Having to walk and back and forward's been a bit of a, especially with the heat, but apart from that, no, it's been really good.
I was about to say, the nice weather like this, so it won't be too bad walking back and forth, is it?
No, you're absolutely right. No, New Zealand's lovely.
So which acts has been your favourite today?
Rubber Legs. Yeah, really, really, really good. And they had the Sweet Sisters on yesterday in the park. They were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, still to come here on CTV News, the weekend sports roundup and your local weather. Welcome back to CTV News. Gordorella is here now with the weekend sports roundup.
At just 16 years of age, Canada's Lance Stroll became the youngest ever winner of the illustrious Lady Wigram Memorial Trophy yesterday. The first round of the Toyota Racing Series attracted a large field of exciting international talent at Ruapuna over the weekend, with yesterday's feature event not disappointing with what turned out to be an incident-packed race. Stroll, the recent winner of the Italian Formula 4 Championship, took the lead early with pole sitter Sam McLeod spinning early, eventually finishing in fifth. Local hope James Munro worked hard to make his way to second before having a spin of his own, eventually finishing well down the order. Second spot went to Indian driver Arjun Maini, with GP2 regular Artem Markelov making up the podium. Race winner Stroll also finished the weekend with the lead in the Toyota Racing Series, having notched a win in Saturday's first race and a fourth place finish in Sunday's second race. The weekend of racing was one of the biggest in years for Ruapuna, with the New Zealand V8s, Toyota 86 Series and Formula Fords all in attendance. A maiden 50-over century for Henry Nicholls has left the Canterbury cricket team with a glimmer of hope in their domestic 50-over campaign. A record 178 against Wellington set a new 50-over domestic record for Canterbury, while Neil Broome also got amongst the records, as he and Nicholls set a record 291 for the second wicket, as Canterbury raced to 356 for 3 in their 50 overs. The total never looked in doubt, even with James Franklin firing a quick-fire ton of his own, as Wellington were eventually dismissed for 271, with quick Hamish Bennett grabbing 3 vital wickets from his 9 overs. The win means that Canterbury now sit in 5th spot, just 1 point off the top 4 with 1 round remaining. Should the Cantabs grab a win on Wednesday against Otago and Rangiora, the side has every chance of qualifying for the weekend's finals. Well, still with cricket now, where our women's side, the Magicians, secured a home final over the weekend, with Amy Satterthwaite again aiding the side with a big score. The captain notched an unbeaten 116 to help the side through to a total of 265, with Canterbury's bowlers then doing the work to dismiss Northern for just 108. The team will take on Auckland in Saturday's final, which will be played at Lincoln University. The 10th round of the ASB Football Premiership saw heartbreak for Canterbury United, as the side fell to a 4-3 come-from-behind victory to Waikato Bay of Plenty. Fergus Neal grabbed the last-minute winner in Cambridge to cancel out 2 earlier goals to Aaron Clapham and 1 to Ash Wellborn. And finally tonight, the annual Stu Butter Invitational Pairs Tournament at the Burnside Bowling Club concluded yesterday after 3 days of great weather and world-class bowls. The pairing of Rob Ashton and Roger Glendinning coped well in yesterday's prevailing nor'wester, with the pair running away with the title in a very one-sided final against Sean Ingham and Sean Scott. Coverage of the tournament can be seen right here on CTV, with section play airing this Sunday, followed by the tournament final the following Sunday. You're up to date with the latest in local sport. I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Thank you, Gordon. Nice beard as well. Well, now it's time for the region's weather.
Warm weather for most of the region today. First in Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine, 26 degrees. Methven and Ashburton reached a high of 26. Rakaia, 26 degrees as well. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston had a stunning day with a high of 28 degrees. Looking at Lincoln and Christchurch, a very warm day for you as well, with a high of 28 degrees. Over in Akanawa, slightly warmer for you with a high of 27. Heading north, Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley soaked up the sunshine today with a high of 28 degrees. The region's high went to Culverden, Hanna Springs and Cheviot with a high of 29 degrees today. And at the top in Kaikoura, they took out the region's low of 25. But the sunshine isn't staying. Looking at tomorrow in Timaru, sunny periods during the morning, but showers developing during the afternoon with cooler southwesterly winds, an overnight low of 15 and a high throughout your day of 19 degrees. Ashburton fine at first, but cloud increasing during the day and showers developing later with a cool southwesterly change. 15 degrees overnight with a high of 21. In Christchurch, enjoy a fine mild morning with sunny periods, but cloud increasing during the afternoon, and watch out for evening showers with a cooler sou'wester. 16 degrees overnight, 21 will be your high throughout the day. At the top in Kaikoura, fine and sunny with cloud increasing during the day, as well as moderate northerly winds, 16 degrees overnight and a high of 23 degrees. In other areas around the region, Temuka and Geraldine reached a high of 19 degrees, Methven 21 degrees, Rakaia slightly cooler on 20. Darfield, Leeston and Rolleston, morning cloud with some afternoon showers and a high of 21. Looking at Lincoln, a low of 16 and a high of 21. Over in Akanawa, they reached a high of 21 degrees. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley expect some showers to develop in the afternoon with a high of 21. Culverden, Hanna Springs and Cheviot reaching a low of 16 and a high of 21. And looking ahead for what's coming Canterbury's way. Cloudy with some rain, then showers on Wednesday morning, but showers clearing during the afternoon. Colder with light to moderate southerly winds will die out. Mostly fine and sunny from Thursday through to Sunday, with patches of high cloud at times. Temperatures becoming warmer, as well as moderate northeasterly winds prevailing. It may be breezy in the afternoons. And that's all for your region's weather this Monday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, Emma. That's CTV News for Monday. Before we go, just a quick reminder, Lynched returns the first episode tonight at 8:30 on CTV. The first episode for the new season 2015. My special guest tonight will be Christchurch Mayor Leanne Dalzell. Nothing is off limits, so if you are a ratepayer of this city, you might want to join in on the action. 8:30 tonight, CTV. Good night.
supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.